Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Costa of Kaiser, Permanente, Orange County, and I have Marshall Moncrief, who is here on behalf of Mind OC. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Nice to be here.
So, Mark, we had discussed probably over a year ago now in regards to mental health. And the Be Well OC Center wasn't open at that time, but now, of course, it is open. But mental illness is probably more on the forefront of our thoughts these days due to COVID and the isolation and depression, and so many things are coming out of that. Can you talk to me a little bit about that right now?
You bet. Yeah, you're right, Lisa. We, pre-pandemic, we knew that mental health, mental illness, and then, the ability for us all to be well mentally, was a challenge in the world we lived with or in before the pandemic. And certainly during the pandemic, it's been more accentuated. A lot of what we know people need are the same for mental wellness, is the same things that we need for our physical wellness, right? We need to, feel like we're secure. We need to know that we've got housing, we've got employment, we've got food on the table, things that bring stability to our lives. And, the pandemic has shook a lot of those things up for a lot of the residents in Orange County and throughout our country. Mm-hmm. You mentioned isolation, social connection. Those two all help bring stability to our lives. So, just like in our physical health, the pandemic has made more visible these things than ever before. And, I believe personally that we've learned through the process, both as individuals, but then also as healthcare providers, of what we need to do more of to better serve, the residents of Orange County, and in our case, Kaiser Permanente members.
Okay. So Marshall, in regards to what we've been dealing with here in the last year, what are some of the things that you're experiencing?
Well, I think one of the most visible signs of the increase in mental health problems is some of the call centers that are available to the community for mental health support have increased in number exponentially. And so NAMI, the National Alliance for Mental Illness, runs a warm line for the County of Orange, and their numbers have doubled, if not tripled, from normal. They've increased their staff to run 24/7, and it's an issue for everybody in the community. And you'll hear from the therapist and psychiatrist community what was already sort of a strain on their capacity is further strained now. So I think Mark said it just right. Pre-COVID, depression, suicide, addiction, homelessness, all of these things were considered crises of their own, and COVID has exacerbated all of those conditions. If there's any silver lining to it, and it's hard to put the word silver lining and COVID in the same sentence, I know, but if there is, it's that, like Mark's describing, it's brought all of this to the forefront in a way that we just can't ignore. And it's highlighted the need for us all to create the mental health infrastructure that the community has been lacking. There's long been lots of good services here and there, but we need a unified infrastructure and a whole community approach. And this has certainly shined a light on that need.
Well, that's very well said from both of you, because, and it's all ages. It's not just an elderly situation. Now we're hearing about teenagers and how devastated they have been not being in school.
Yes.
So it's been crazy across the board. In regards to that being in the forefront now, I mean, the Be Well OC Center is open, and it is, right? It's open now?
It is open, yes.
Okay. So was it open during COVID or no?
No, we finished construction throughout the course of last year. So we were under construction during the height of COVID, and that had its own challenges. but it has certainly, COVID has certainly pushed us to get the facility completed on time from a construction perspective, which we were able to do. And now we've begun to open services. That process started in January. And as we get into April, all 7 of the services will be open and available to the community. And we're very excited to report that.
Oh, that's great. Now, Mark, I know that there were several of your nurses and doctors that were going to be participating as a resource for that center. Is that still the case?
Oh, absolutely. Be Well OC has engaged providers across the county, from all the health systems, including Kaiser Permanente, and really looked to, the individuals that are, in offices, in medical offices, providing the care, in emergency rooms, providing the care, to make sure they understand the needs and then establish the processes so that we can refer, transfer patients that can benefit from Be Well. So we do appreciate the engagement with Be Well OC.
Okay, and then let's talk about how Kaiser Permanente, beyond that, is going to support the folks that could be at the Be Well Center.
Well, now in the digital world, the virtual world that we live in, we can be connected. And so, not all problems will be completely solved in the Be Well OC. We all know that it takes a community. And so being connected so that the individuals that receive care at the Be Well Mental Health Campus can get aftercare. It could be in support groups. It could be referrals to community-based organizations. Let's say it might be AAA as it relates to substance abuse disease, or referral back to a Kaiser Permanente provider. Again, if any of us had this need, or when we have this need, the thing that's most important is a sense of continuity and connection. And in the virtual world that we live in, this can be accomplished.
Now, Marshall, you mentioned seven centers. What does that consist of?
Well, there's 7 different services in the one facility. And so, so that consists of some of the things Mark was highlighting now. So we have a full continuum of substance use treatment in the facility, starting with the county's first urgent care for substance use, and all the way through to residential treatment. And then we have a full continuum of mental health services too, also starting at an urgent care level all the way through residential support. And so what's unique about that is the 7 different services. There are 3 for mental health and 4 for substance use. Those would all typically be in 7 different locations scattered around the county, and probably with different payer contracts or insurance contracts, such that I go knocking on the door of one of them and find out, oh, no, they're not contracted with Medicaid, so I need to go over here to this one. Or I knock on the door and find out, oh, no, they're not contracted with commercial insurance, so I need to get over here to this one. And so the community has long been kind of pinballed around the fragmented set of services in our community at the height of the challenges they're facing with mental illness, which by nature compromises the ability to sort of think clearly and be able to navigate well. And so it's kind of been salt in the wound. So the need to bring all of this together was critical. And I'm going to say that Mark's being somewhat modest, because it wouldn't have happened without Kaiser. And the Kaiser, in addition to Kaiser, the organization, and Mark's leadership helping to realize the campus, the clinicians at Kaiser have remained active and do right to this day, and part of a clinical steering committee determining the protocols and processes for getting patients into the campus.
Right.
And we're deeply appreciative of their support.
That is amazing. And I do remember the last time that Mark and I had sat down, that he was talking about how Kaiser was a very instrumental part in terms of at the beginning, which is great, because and then there, you have your legislatures and people that were helping in that capacity as well. So it sounds like an awesome place. I wish you well, and I'm I'm very excited to actually see it because I have not been there. So hopefully one of these days we'll be able to come visit.
You say when, we'd love to have you over.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one last, I'm sorry, Mark, go ahead.
No, I just said we hope you visit.
Yes.
Yes, we will. And one last thing is, how will people be able to get in touch with you guys?
Well, for Be Well, there's a website we'd love for the community to visit, and that's bewelloc.org. And there's a lot of information there. If people are looking to get referrals to the campus, the county's OC Links system which can also be found online, OC Links, is also an access point.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, both of you. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa, very much.
You're welcome. And we'll be right back